The information you just received might be one of the most well-known near tragedies involving a school bus full of children. However, it's important to acknowledge that there are unfortunately many other horrific events that go unreported in the news in this particular incident. A 14-year-old named Donald was a student in a Virginia high school and a member of the school's band. The bus driver, known as Bob, was driving the band's students to and from a field trip on October 20, 1995. The bus journey back to the school, which was located approximately 45 minutes away, took place late at night after a festival. Since the route they were taking was a rural highway called Route 58, there were hardly any other cars on the road. However, when one car started tailgating the bus instead of overtaking it, the students at the back of the bus began to notice and discuss the strange behavior. In an attempt to get the driver off their tail, Bob switched into the left lane, allowing the car to speed past in the right lane. Some students shouted things out the windows, but they were told to stop by a chaperone on the bus. Donald initially believed the car was gone and assumed it was just an aggressive driver late at night. However, suddenly, the bus slammed on its brakes, causing everyone to be jolted in their seats and a screeching sound from the brakes. The bus came to a sudden stop in the middle of the highway, and Bob instructed everyone to remain calm. The bus briefly went into reverse and then back into drive before stopping again. Bob shouted at everyone to stay quiet and avoid panicking, which led to nervous whispers among the students. Soon, there were shouts coming from outside the bus by multiple male voices. The bus doors opened, and two masked men wearing black pullovers, armed with handguns, entered the bus. They yelled at everyone to be quiet and demanded that the students empty their wallets of cash and remove any jewelry, which they had to hand over. With their guns pointed at the students, the men went row by row, collecting the money and jewelry. Some students screamed in fear, as the guns were aimed at their faces, a natural response given the circumstances. Donald described a traumatizing moment when a gun was pointed at his head at the age of 14. Feeling as though his entire existence would end if he made any wrong moves or looked at the gunman the wrong way. The robbers hastily left before reaching the back of the bus, possibly concerned that other cars might pass by and intervene. The car sped away down Route 58 with its lights off, and its license plates were covered, indicating that the attack was planned, although everyone on board eventually made it home safely. Most of the students, as well as Bob and the chaperone, had been robbed. Unfortunately, bus robberies are not uncommon, although most incidents are not captured on video. To illustrate this point, a similar incident occurred in Whitbank recently. A school bus traveling along the N4 highway was attacked by armed robbers, who had placed rocks on the road to cause damage and force vehicles to stop. The bus was carrying 4 teachers and the driver, but there were no students on board at the time. The robbers, armed with guns and a knife, stole personal belongings such as cell phones, cash, jewelry, and a smartwatch. The bus driver sustained a minor facial injury when he was struck with a gun, but no one else was harmed. After the robbers fled the scene, a tow truck arrived to assist, and one of the teachers borrowed the driver's phone to call her fiancé, who then contacted the authorities. Police arrived and initiated an investigation, but the robbers have not yet been identified. It's worth noting that buses can be attractive targets due to the large number of people they can carry, which potentially increases the perpetrator's perceived value of their loot. Although incidents like these are not frequently reported in the news, they do occur in situations involving armed individuals. It is generally advised to comply with their demands for personal safety. July 15, 1976 in Chowchilla, California, marked a day that the town would prefer to erase from memory, but remains an indelible part of its history. This gripping account begins with Ed Ray, a modest school bus driver, transporting 26 enthusiastic students from Dairyland Elementary School back home after a fun-filled class trip. However, their journey takes an unimaginable turn when they encounter a white van blocking the road. Suddenly, armed individuals wearing disguises emerge, hijacking the bus and ushering the terrified children onto the waiting vehicles. For an agonizing 11 hours, Ed and the children endure the stifling darkness and sweltering heat, unaware of their captors' intentions. Despite the grim circumstances, the older kids attempt to lighten the atmosphere by singing songs, hoping to comfort their younger companions. Meanwhile, back in town, parents and local news stations quickly realize something is amiss when the bus fails to arrive on time. The abandoned bus is discovered, triggering a large-scale investigation involving the FBI. Eventually, the vans reach a remote rock quarry in Livermore, where Ed and the children are transferred to an underground hiding spot, a buried moving van, 12 feet below ground. In this cramped and treacherous environment, their captors seal the entrance, leaving them with limited provisions and dwindling hope. Ed bravely tries to maintain calm among the group as they face the looming threat of suffocation and collapse. After enduring unbearable conditions, the survivors, led by Ed and the oldest child, Michael Marshall, manage to pry open the van's roof, remove the weighty obstacles, and escape. Exhausted and desperate, they find refuge at the quarry's guard shack, where they contact the police. Subsequently, the captors, Frederick Woods, James Schoenfeld, and Richard Schoenfeld, are apprehended and convicted. The harrowing events of that day left an indelible mark on Chowchilla and garnered widespread shock and outrage. The subsequent release of the perpetrators, granted parole under certain circumstances, drew criticism and disbelief from the community and beyond. Ed Ray, hailed as a hero for his bravery and leadership, passed away in 1991, but his legacy remains alive to this day.